Hello everyone. So today we would be working again inside the part mode, but today we are going to make a bit more complex things. We are going to try to make the use of the commands like helical sweep, or things like that. We are going to explore those commands. So last time what we have done is like we have done extrude and we have done revolve. So now we know that how to make those parts. But for example, if we have to make a spring something like this, any of these, uh, we cannot really make them using extrude or revolve. Then we have to use the sweep command, or to be more precisely, helical sweep. We are going to talk about these things a bit more just in a few seconds. Let's set our working directory. So I'm going to set my working directory somewhere. And for the people who are using apps anywhere, or who are using it on the Queen Mary computers, uh, keep in mind that select your working directory as your G drive, not C or J drive, always your G drive. So you can access your parts later on, what you have made. You can access it later on, otherwise it would not be saved. So let's open up a new part, uncheck use default template, and let's name this part whatever you want. I'm going to name it as spring, and then press OK and select the right system of units, and we are inside the part mode. And some people think that these planes are not colored, it's just all about settings and everything. If like if you can see these planes, these rectangles in any way, that's fine. Okay, now let's talk about making these springs. So if you have to model any of these springs, there would be some things which you would need to know before modeling that. Number one, the length of the spring. Number two, its diameter or the radius. And number three, the pitch, the distance between two consecutive coils, and the radius of the wire which is making up that spring. And we would have to define all of these things to Creo, because again Creo doesn't know anything until and unless you define it to it. So I'm going to choose my right plane over here, and I'm going to sketch, and then to make this face perpendicular to myself, I'm going to click on this sketch view as we have done before. Now I would draw a line, a straight vertical line. The length of this line is going to define the length of my spring. So let's say this is 500, and let's place a center line somewhere over here. So I place a center line somewhere over here. The distance from the center line is going to define the radius of your spring, not of the wire which is making up that spring, but the radius of your spring. So let's make it maybe 150 exactly. And if you are not having some dimension which you need, for example, let's say I create a line somewhere over here, and I want the distance between these two lines, and or distance between these 2 points. What you can do is you can always select dimension, select the first point, select the second point, and press the center mouse button. You would have your dimension. Or let's say I want to know the distance between this point and this point. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select dimension, select this point and this point, scroll mouse button, and I can get that dimension right over here. And then you can always move these dimensions away. This one is stuck, it was stuck. You can move them anywhere you want to. I need this line for now, so I'm just going to delete it. So I have one line which is defining the length of my spring, and the distance which is defining the radius of my spring, and a center line which is providing me with the axis of my spring. That's all we need to do inside the sketch mode for now, and I'm going to press OK and leave the sketch mode. Now I'll select this sketch either from over here from the model tree or by clicking on that line, and inside the sweep menu I would go to helical sweep. When I would go to helical sweep, I would see that there is this arrowhead which is coming from my selected sketch. If you click it, it would go on the other side. This is going to define the start or the end, the start of the gear spring and the direction of its movement. So this means that the spring is starting from over here and going towards here, and from over here you can define the rules. But before that, we need to define that wire which is coiled to make up that spring. What we are going to do is we are going to click on this sketch inside the section tab and would open up a new sketch window, and then I'm going to go to sketch view, and on my sketch line, now just remember that this is my center line and this is my sketch line. So on the very start of my sketch line, I am going to draw a circle because I'm going for a circular wire this time, and I'm going to define its radius. Let's say it's 18, not 198, 18. And when I'll press OK, you can see the spring. And if you accidentally exit out of your part mode, what you can always do is you can right click on that thing and go to edit definitions. And if I want to change the pitch, I can do that from over here or right over here. Let's say what's happened if I increase the pitch to 100, it's too far away. Or what if I decrease the pitch to 25? And you can also choose the left hand rule or the right hand rule. And also you can make a spring in the newer version of Creo by thickening up the sketch as we have done in Extrude. So if you just click over here, you can make a hollow pipe of any thickness. I'm going to leave it solid. Then you can press OK. And let's say I want a scare wire to be coiled as spring. What I need to do is I just need to go to edit definitions and again go to sketch view. Let's delete this circle and instead let's place sort of a rectangle over here. And then I'm going to press OK and my spring is there. This pitch is too less for this type of spring, so let's make it 75 maybe. Oh, sorry, 35. It's too small. But it is a spring. And you can always exit the sweep mode by pressing OK, and then you have your spring. Now, if you want to make some threads, or you have made a nut, or you have made a bolt, you can do it using the same command. Let's see how we can do that. Let's quickly, by using revolve command, let's make a shape of a nut or a bolt. So this time I'm going to choose front plane. And let's go to sketch view. Let's place a center line for revolve, and this same center line can be used later on for our helix profile. And let's make a shape. And let's revolve that to get a shape to work on. So we have our shape. Let's say we have to place threads from this point to somewhere over here. We can do that by using the same procedure we have done before. So how are we going to do it? Let's do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a plane which is going right through my object and through my axis of rotation. So either I can choose this one or I can choose this one. Let's choose this one, and I'll sketch and sketch view. Now I want to draw a line from this point to this point exactly, but if I try to fix, sometime it would not fix. So what you can do is you can always include some references from over here. So click on references and choose the lines whichever you want to be your reference, and then hit close. These lines are just arbitrary or imaginary lines. These would be just there to help you out if your tool is not snipping to its place or something like that. So I'm going to draw a line exactly from this point to this point. This line is going to define the length of my thread. My thread would start from this point and it would end at over here. And again, I'm just going to press OK and exit the sketch mode. And again, I'm going to go to sweep and helical sweep. Under helix profile, select this line which I've just created, and on helix axis provide this central axis. In the sketch view, in the sketch pane, let's sketch our section by using a line maybe. Let's draw a shape of a thread. And remember to keep it a bit outside of your length. And then when I'll press OK, it's adding material to it. But I want it to be removed as a material, so I should have a thread. So I'm just going to go and click on remove material. And then if I want, I can increase or decrease the pitch again, whatever I want to do. And also you have some commands like round and chamfer available over here. Either you can make the rounds. The round command is same as the fillet command over in sketch mode, and chamfer command is same as the chamfer command in the sketch mode. So let's place some round over here maybe. You can define the round length either by clicking over here, or you can define it from over here. Let's press OK, and let's place a chamfer onto this edge. Oh, that's again round. I want to do chamfer, and you can increase or decrease the chamfer length however your design says. There's a really interesting thing which you can do over here. If you remember, like in the very first session, I've told you about rendering, like how you can render stuff up to see how they look like in real life. Let's try to do that. I'm just going to deselect all of these things so I would have a clear sketch in front of me. I'm going to go to view, and I'm going to select my whole part, and under the appearances I can choose any of the appearances available over here. For example, you have glass, you have lace, metal, smith, paints, plastics. Let's make it out of some metal, for example brass, and you have different brass shades available. Let's choose this one, and then you can go to scenes and define the scene whatever you want to, and you can also edit that if you want to. Let's choose this one, and then you can go to applications and go to render studio. It's going to take some time maybe to render that. Then you can see there's a bit of noise over here, and I chose a rough form of brass, so it would not be very clear again, but it depends on the GPU of your machine too. And if I want to save this thing, Instead of taking a screenshot and ruining the quality, what I can do is I can just click on this render tab and choose the quality whatever I want. If you whatever let's increase the sample. I'm keeping a sample size very low, so I just want to just show over here, but if you increase that, your quality would be much improved. And I'm going to click on render, and it is going to save that inside my working directory. Let's see where it is saved. And we have it over here, our image. And you can zoom in, zoom out, and like I took low sample size, so I have like a low quality over here, but you can increase that. So that's all about the rendering. Now all of these were like regular shapes, but what if you have some shape which is like arbitrary, for example, which is something moving along like a path, maybe uh, like this, a random path, maybe whatever. And let's even use even this shape we have done. I'll remake that. So what I've done over here, I've just selected a plane and I have clicked on sketch, and inside the sketch mode I define the path of my shape, whatever it is taking. It can be anything. For the same reason I'm using a spline over here, because it creates the most random shape. Define the path of whatever your object is going to take, and let's make it a bit more straight from this point, let's say. And then by keeping that sketch selected, you are going to click on sweep, and this is going to define the start and the finish of your sweep, again in the same way. And I'm going to click on sketch view, and let's draw a small circle over here, and it's going to go across that path. And you can also do variable cross section. We are not going to cover that over here, but if any one of you have any question about the variable section sweep, you can come into sessions and we can reply to those questions. So using this command, you can again make shapes in whatever shapes you like. For example, let's go edit that and let's change that pathway, maybe somewhere like this. Let's make it random as possible, and when you go back, you have that shape. It's sort of a hook. So that's it for this session, and if you have any question, you can come into drop-in sessions, and one of the demonstrators would be there to help you out. Thank you very much.